is page 61 of the download below, or from the PDF file for initiation into Hermetics. And this is dealing with biomagnetism. And here this is talking about when you charge a room with vital force, if you just do it a couple of times or whatever, if you leave it, people could come into the room, or over a period of time, other forces will interfere with the vital force you charge a room with, weakening it and changing it from what you originally intended it to be. So if you don't use and reinforce tension, and you put a tension into the vital forces you call it forth through your imagination with your desire, you have to reinforce it by a couple of repetitions. Either, after a period of time, you've let it sit, maybe hours or whatever, a day. If you leave it that long, you'd have to go back and reinforce it by doing it again to wipe out any outside influences that'll get in there. And it'll only, like it says here, the desired influence will only persist as far as the tension is effective in the desired direction. Because the vital force you put in will dissolve and mingle with other vibrations that'll come into the room and weaken it and change it. And it'll fade away. So he's talking about the laws of biomagnetism. So what he's doing is, when a prey desires, you have to charge them with desire, you feel well in it, and then you double the force of it. As long as you were in the room, you add a desire to it. In other words, you would call it desire for, let's say you want to make the room comfortable so you can sleep in it, and then you would add the desire. Biomagnetism is made by adding the desire that as long as you're in the room, the desire to let you rest in the room and sleep will persist, and it'll continue renewing. You would actually say, as you call forth a vital energy, you would say, I'm now charging it to let me sleep in the room comfortably. No intruders or outside influences coming in bothering me. And then it'd say it will continuously renew itself from the universe. You'd have to add that to it with attention and with your imagination. And so that even when you leave the room and are absent for some time, it'll continuously renew. You'll put in the desire of having it renew itself from the universe, even though you only do it a couple of times originally. And then, like he says here, should anyone enter the room, ignoring the accumulation of vital force, they'll feel uncomfortable. Because if you charge the room only for you, let's say, to sleep or to be, protected against intruders or, outside influences you don't want. So then if you do that, by adding that suggestion that it continuously reinforces your desire in the room, then it'll store in the room and will always exert a good influence on you. So you have to sit there and add that desire to it that is continuously renewing. But and then it says here, if you intend to do something else in the room besides what you originally intended to, you're gonna have to dissolve it and add another vibration, unload it, or change it to a new desire that you wanted it. And then he talks about charging a ring or a stone. If you want to make a pendulum or something, you would charge it with a desire for the wish, and then that whoever's wearing it should be favored by it. So you add two things to it: the wish, and that whoever wears it or whoever has it will possess the things that you put into it. He's talking about adding time into it, that you can last forever, or it could just be a short period of time. There's all sorts of things depending on what you want you can add to it for biomagnetism. And then once again, you can have it continuously load from the universe. So you have an object, a ring or a pendant that you have, and you charge it, and you're going to continuously have the universe reinforce it so that it'll stay at the power that you want it to be in. So by you adding that through your imagination to it. And he's talking about healing people that are sick, and that you have to be careful, because he's talking about like a magnetizer here. If you go to heal somebody and you draw the energy into yourself, if you're not well, if you're sick or whatever, then you could damage your own health by bringing it through you. And so a thing to do is, he's talking like someone to magnetize his own force to transfer psychic vibrations and character traits on the patient, that it could influence him that you have to be of a good character, because it's going to influence you. If you draw energy into yourself, like when you're charging up with vital energy, then you take that and you go to influence somebody to heal them or give some to them. If you're not of a sound character, you could damage yourself. A part of you will actually be attached to them by bringing it through your own body. If you bring the energy into your own body, then you use like your hands to heal somebody. You're going to be directly affected by doing it through your hands. So a good way to do it potentially is to just call it forth from the universe. The magician can't place somebody. So you could call forth from the universe and charge it and put it into the person independent of you. It talks about up here that if you go to heal somebody of any disease, you should know about the disease. Because in order to heal it, just like when charging a room, you add the certain things to it. You have to know in order to heal somebody that's got illness or something, if you want to heal them, you have to know something about the illness. Like, how would you go about healing them? To put that into the vital energy when you go to charge them up, like what organs or what part of the body would need to be healed, or it won't be effective. So you should have some knowledge about the person that's sick if you want to heal them with vital energy. Always be good. And then before approaching a person's bed, do 7 breaths to the lungs, pause, accumulate a lot of energy, vital force, and then let it shine like a brightest light of sun. So you would draw in 7 breaths of vital energy, compress it until you're like practically shining, and then you can take it and put into a sick person. But once again, you should know something about the illnesses. As long as the person's not affected by too painful an illness, he's saying here, if you know something about it and you put it into the vital energy you're storing up in your body through the breaths, and then with your hands put it into them, if they're not too sick, they'll immediately feel better. But if they're really too sick and too far gone, they might not feel anything. You might not see them change. They might not know anything, but it could heal them, a little bit down the road. You don't need to lay hands on them. Imagine the energy surrounding you will illuminate all the pores of the sick person, like you will port order. So you're drawing the energy in, and then you're using your hands to put it into them. And you have to be totally convinced. Same with everything you're doing. There has to be no doubt. Whether you're charging them or trying to heal a person, you have to be convinced that they're going to be 100% better as soon as this energy comes to them. But once again, I don't see it here, but I'm pretty sure he talks about drawing it forth from the universe, not through your body. I think if you draw it through your body, you could probably, it'll have more an impact maybe, but it depends upon your character whether you would do it or not. And then repeat it after a certain amount of time. Reinforce the tension of the concentrated radiant energy as it's building up in tension inside you. You're compressing it. And then he's talking here about the success you'll have. And also that your energy should not diminish, but keeps lighting up in the same intensive minutes before. That the vital power in the body renews itself automatically. So you continuously take breaths. Once you take the energy, you put it to a person or to a ring or something you're making, you would take some more breaths, continuously bring it in. Renewing itself, you can also do it from the universe. You could draw forth vital power and charge it, and then have it renew itself going into the person until it's complete. So you would put that all into it. If someone was depressed or something, you wanted to make them feel better, you could draw the energy, vital energy from the universe, collect it, accumulate it with tension in the air above you, and then have it directed into the person, and have it and say this energy will continuously renew itself from the universe in this person until they're well, at which time it'll stop. See, that this is the biomagnetism. You're employing all these different ways of making it perfectly timed to the situation, whether it's a sick person or charging a ring or something. And then you could also charge the person's own radiant power with the help of imagination. If the person's able to concentrate, you could show them how to do it or help him charge the air that he's breathing in. This is about working with the patient to tell them what you're going to do and convince them that the energy they're breathing in will make them better. by you using imagination to charge it. You want to make the person imagine they'll feel better and better. Even when you're not there, he'll continuously feel better. Here you also concentrate on the wish that the energy inhaled by the patient will keep working positively for him or her. Time and space. So you have to have the consideration of the time, how much time you want to have at work, and then the space, how much energy you want to go into the person. So it's just a couple of things you would add to it to strengthen it. And then he's just talking, this is all about vital power. He's talking the future about elements, magnetism, electricity, and goes into it in more detail later on in the following steps. And this is the end of step 3, and the concentration exercises from the first step are the thoughts, objects, the animals, the elements. Retain to step 1, so you have to go back to step 1 and keep going through those thought exercises. Accumulation of vital power, so those are lungs, and pores, whole body, different parts of the body. So that's the end of step 3. And step 3, probably looking at this, thinking about how when I did it, I mean, I've kind of gone through these exercises. It's like I don't know if it was a month. I might have went too quick. I kind of got a little bit tripped up here. I have gone through the whole book, but not on the level that I went through a second time, or I kind of refined it a bit. But that's probably about it. So I'll leave it at that.